know if I'm going to actually post this because this is super vulnerable for me and I'm a pretty open person. But earlier this year, I told my husband I wanted a divorce. And this would probably shock a lot of my friends and my family because I hadn't told anybody, okay?
Why?
I walked myself through the logistics of where would I live, how would we split the time with the kids, who gets the dog, where all of those things, okay? Had a full breakdown. I feel like I have been searching for something in my relationship that we don't have for the whole time we've been married, which has been 10 years. There is not a single thing about my husband in and of himself that I do not love. Let me be very clear about that.
Okay.
He is the most self-disciplined, loyal, hardworking, good person that you could meet on this planet. And that is probably the reason why I have not left. Okay. Our relationship and what my expectations are for my marriage and what they always have been are not met, right? Which I don't know if anybody's are.
I'm having a tough time following what she's trying to say and where she's getting at. What expectations? What are we talking about? Sounds like she has a great husband.
The reason that pushed me to even bring up divorce and talk about it,
right,
was the fact that I feel like I can't be myself with my husband. And it's really confusing because I'm 32 years old. I'm a mom of 3, and I still don't know who I am.
Please don't let this be one of those videos, man. Please. This is just a bunch of confusion, unfortunately. I want to be myself. Husband probably says, all right, well, who are you and how can I allow you to be more of yourself? And who are you? Tell me about that. She goes, I don't know. Poor guy.
So for me to be like, oh, I can't be myself or you don't love me for who I am isn't really fair because I don't know who I am.
Right.
I'm figuring that out every day. But the reason why I wanted to share this on here in the first place is we are coming up on our 10-year anniversary. We're going to Mexico, to Cabo, for our 10-year anniversary trip. And we're rewriting our vows. We never wrote vows in the first place. We didn't have vows when we got married. And I'm struggling to write my vows, like to write a vow. And I think that's because I still feel very unsure in our relationship. The one thing that we finally talked about this past week together, because it's just been something that since we kind of talked about it and I brought it up and we committed to change and we committed to working on our relationship, I started my own business. He quit his job. Roles have changed. Life has been crazy. And we just haven't come back to talking about this subject. And I brought it up again because I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you, like writing these vows is hard. I don't feel like we're any closer. I don't feel like anything has really changed since I brought this up 6 months ago, 9 months.
What is there to change? She's asking him to do the impossible. She says he's amazing here, he's amazing there. I want you to let me be myself. And he says, okay, who are you? I don't know. I don't know who I am. Let me just say this for the sake of the children and anybody who sits there goes, don't stay for the kids. I don't believe that. First off, I'm happy to hear that this family's still intact and those children still have parents. But cautionary tale, warning, from what I've seen, from what I have seen, if she lets go of this man, and listen, I know he's not perfect, no one is, but if he's even 80% of the good qualities that she mentioned and she lets go of him, he will be snatched up faster than she realizes what she's done. Let's talk about the sponsor of this channel, fathershaverights.com. Engaged and soon to be married men, hiring the wrong lawyer can leave you with an overpriced, unenforceable prenup. Avoid the trap. Inside my step-by-step guide at fathershaverights.com, renowned attorneys James Sexton and the lead attorney lay out the exact questions to ask, red flags to spot, and proven steps to hiring the perfect prenup lawyer. The guide itself costs only a couple of coffee dates, far less than a single billable hour. Hit the link pinned to the top of the comment section, lock in your guide, and join the hundreds of men securing their marriages the right way. I know the people are going to comment things like, let her go, divorce, because I know they're the same people who, when someone like her divorces, they'll be like, why did you divorce? You should have worked things out for the kids. This is the moment where it can be worked out for the sake of the family, the kids, and the shot of espresso. I just want to be made clear is if he's any of the things that she mentioned, these women out here are hungry. They're starving for good men who've been vetted. There's probably one of your friends who hears that there's been trouble in paradise. She says he's loyal, so on and so forth. They will snatch your husband up so fast. He gets treated in a way that he's appreciated. No way he's going back. Regret will result from that decision. That's the uncomfortable truth. And unfortunately, when we check out these comments here, I'm probably going to be one of the only people that actually serves it like that. Don't make that mistake.
Ago, whatever. And I want to work on our relationship. Like, at the end of the day, of course, I could get a divorce and try to go find the love that I'm craving with somebody else. But that's going to come with its own hardships, its own complications, and ones that I'm not willing to take on, right? I love Ryan. He is the best father, okay?
Right now.
I just need to learn how to explain what I need from him in our relationship, and he needs to be able to give that, and I need to be doing the same for him so that we can both, like, in 10 years from now, in the next 10 years, look back and say, like, we put in the work and we finally have the marriage and the relationship that we have always wanted, and that is what I want. I guess the reason why I'm coming on here, and if you've made it this long, that's really nice.
I was actually wondering that. I was like, why is she on TikTok? It's the worst place to get advice from.
What have you done in your relationship to get to that point? If you have been in a place where we are and have worked through it and have found things that have brought you closer or that have given you that relationship, like, I'm just, I guess, asking for advice. Like, what have you done in order to get there and what has worked for you? We're honestly willing to try anything. We have done therapy and counseling before. And it was fine, honestly. It wasn't like my favorite thing, but I'm willing to try that again. And I don't know, books, podcasts, like what have you guys done that has worked for you to get your marriage to where you want it to be?
What I think is when I hear her talk, she just sounds like somebody who lacks purpose. There are a lot of people out here who lack purpose. And sometimes the purpose that's lacked that somebody can benefit from is a spiritual element in their life. I mean, when I think of myself, she talks about therapy. Therapy does not save marriages. Very rarely does. Does it work? It does. It's helpful, maybe in communicating to a degree, but overwhelmingly, therapy fails. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. People still pursue it, right? The same way people still get in marriages because when it's good, it's really good and it produces wonderful things. But I do have to say to anybody that's wondering, okay, I've tried therapy, I've tried books. Have you tried God? Have you tried praying more? Have you tried fellowshipping with people at a church? And try it for you. Don't try it because you're looking for other people. Try it for you, right? See how it feels because I guarantee you, people are going to let you down. Some people are looking for a spiritual element in their life and they will sabotage their relationships and, do the whole eat, pray, love thing to go find this thing when in the end, they end up right back at home with the same exact emptiness. Why am I here? What's the meaning of life? I've figured out one of the main meanings of life for myself, right? That's for me, right? I'm not telling you you should believe the way I do, but God, Jesus is something that I value very strongly, not to feel like I'm better than anybody else, but because I need it. That's it.
I just don't like thinking, okay, we've been married for 10 years and we've kind of like been at this same point the whole time. I just don't want to look back 10 years from now and not have tried my best to have this like relationship that we both want and that we deserve and that our kids deserve to see in us. So I'm kind of being vulnerable and posting this on here, but I would just like to know, like, what has worked for you and what advice I guess you would have for me.
All right. Let's read a few of these comments. Hopefully, those kids continue to have a mother and father for the next 10 years. Top comment here says, divorce won't fix your mental state. That's a word. Somebody else here added, poor dude. Here's somebody else who says, your husband should cut his losses now and file. Here's somebody else responded back and says, it all made sense when she said, I started a business and he quit his job. Do you think that, because I thought of that, right? I did catch that. I thought that happened before she decided to pursue business. Did I not understand that correctly? I thought that happened before she decided to pursue the business. Well, if these issues actually started after he quit his job and she started being the main breadwinner, that could be a whole separate issue. And we already know all that is. What do you guys think? Right? Comment down below. If that's it, the data is very clear when it comes to what encourages divorce. Regardless, all this is true. Divorce won't fix your mental state. And if he's 80% of the things that you said he is, the chances that you will regret losing that man are extremely high. Somebody else who says 10 years of marriage is diabolical to destroy for selfish reasons. That's true. Very true. Another person who says, so it's true. A man will sacrifice his happiness for his family, but a woman will sacrifice her family for her happiness. Somebody else responded back and says, I mean, it definitely happens from both parties. Men and women are both guilty of this. See, Emily here this is like, you're not being honest. Women are a lot more guilty of that particular thing than men. Somebody else who says, your story is my story. Then 20 years later, it turned out I was just bored and immature. Whoa. There it is. There it is. Worst mistake of my life, divorcing a good man. Whoa. Didn't I say it? Didn't I say it? She can't really name what the problem is. Yes, I made room for the explanation of the deeper purpose through spirituality, but mother of three, can't put my finger on it. She does sound very kind of bored. There is a sense of boredom right there. Lace, shout out to you. Shout out to this chick. And I enjoy giving the women shout outs who keep it real because it's so rare. You guys see me read these comments. One more time. Your story is my story. Then 20 years later, it turns out I was just bored and immature. Worst mistake of my life, divorcing a good man. I bet you that man got snatched up. Fast, not slow. This person here responded back and said this, me 2 years ago, and it took a lot of therapy to realize it was a me issue. I wonder if they both still have their husbands. The first lady, her who commented, sounded like she lost that whole marriage. So it says, honestly, it sounds like a spiritual attack. I don't know if you believe in Jesus, but you should start praying. Gentleman says the internet has given so many people fairy tale expectations. Very true. Hunter here says, God, please don't ever put me in a position where my wife is asking TikTokers to save our marriage. Yeah, that's how we're gonna end it. That's how we're gonna end it. Jeez, man. I feel so bad when I think of the kids. I think of the men who've been devastated. Could you imagine being a man whose wife came to the conclusion that she was just bored and just totally wrecked your life? My heart goes out, man. My heart goes out.
I just got back from the lake where I didn't have any service, and now the video has over 1 million views of me talking about my marriage, which is just lovely. My husband's taking a shower, but let's just say the comments have gotten more wild and wild as the time has gone on. There are a couple things I want to address. There's a lot of comments saying that, like, why would you talk about this on the internet? Like, go to a therapist, go to a counselor. Like, duh. We're planning on doing that. But also, why, again, I think I've said this previously, why would I not come to a place that has millions and millions of people on here with advice and recommendations for my situation, who maybe have previously been in the situation, which is why I did it, which is what I asked at the end of the video if you actually watched it all the way through. Half of the comments now don't even watch the video. They literally are like, don't do it, don't get divorced. I'm like, I'm not. I literally said I'm not. If you watched it longer than 10 seconds. So that's one thing, is there is a point and a very good side of social media, which is community and helping each other and giving advice. And I have received loads of advice, and again, I will post that soon. I'm making a notes in my notes app, okay? Second is that, like, my husband doesn't know that I'm posting online, I guess. People are saying that, like, of course he knows, okay? Of course he knows. And third, the last thing I'll talk about tonight. Neither of us are perfect in the relationship, okay? I for sure have my faults, and so does he. And again, I don't feel like I needed to come on here and, like, explain, like, I don't know anyone the full story or, like, every single detail about our marriage, okay? I was literally just saying, here's my situation, here's as much as I want to tell you, and what advice do you have for me? And the girlies have come through, mostly the girls, with good advice and support and love, and I'm super grateful for that. But that was a lot of views in 24 hours on that video, and the last video that I expected to get that many views, so cheers to social media.
Hey guys, as always, I appreciate you checking out yet another episode of the Coffee Pod. To my currently engaged or soon to be married men, if you need a prenup and would like a guide that shows you how to get a solid and legally binding prenuptial agreement, hit the link pinned to the top of the comment section and access your guide at fathershaverights.com today.